What's that?
I guess we're
Is
on.
that from the?
We're on now.
Oh, it's from this.
Oh, we can shut this
I wanna
off.
shut that off, yeah.
There we go.
There you go.
Hi, here with Rick.
Hey.
I think we're rolling. We just did a run through. It was about an hour, 20 minutes of the play Lear Earl. This is part of this. Can you teach creativity? That's a big. I love this Isaac Asimov quote. He said, "The best education can do is to teach you how to be an autodidact." And I still think that there's got to be a calling inside. You have it in your script as like, oh, there's a Barnes and Noble or a Walden book, and oh, $5, a Shakespeare. Oh, it's supposed to be boring, but it's also supposed to be good for you.
Well, let me respond to that because that's a good point you bring up. Because when I was a kid, at 13, in Manchester, New Hampshire, which is, I had no background in the arts, and nobody in my family was connected to this. And what was interesting is I discovered Shakespeare pure, not learning it in school, and not because it was good for me, and I enjoyed it as theater, or at least as reading these texts. There was something in it that I was responding to, and I could respond to it sort of without the university telling me that it was good for me, and therefore I don't.
Or your high school telling you.
I mean, I don't know if we still do this in high school, but everybody read. I mean, across every public school that ever existed, you read Julius Caesar and Macbeth and probably Hamlet too. And Othello.
Macbeth was the big one, and as I'm finding out, shame on you, in public schools nowadays, they're not even reading Macbeth.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, that's gone, but it wasn't presented as good for you. It was presented as theater, and it was presented as entertainment, which is what it was written for. And so for me, but it was also a reflection of the world that they were living in, the Elizabethans. This world in chaos, and this is what we were talking about today in the rehearsal. And I think it's a really great point that Professor Baldwin brings up here during the rehearsal, is that one thing that we have discovered, or I've discovered, is missing that transition into why this play, Lear, is not only theatrical, but also a microcosm of the world we live in today, which is a kind of a world of chaos. And seemingly without divine sort of inspiration. And Shakespeare, by writing a play that took place in a medieval period, I mean, the Lear as well as Macbeth are from our 13th century. They're medieval figures, pre-Christian, pre-Roman Catholic Church, at least in England. And so we could look at Shakespeare as being a sort of existentialist from the point of view of a post-World War II godless society, and sort of what that does to people who go into World War II with God, with Christianity.